you. Well, welcome to the show, dude. Welcome to the show, everybody. Thank you for coming here and driving all this way, man. It means a lot to me. You're a new guest here. Uh, Caleb Beaudin, your family, you do a lot, and I don't really know where to explain with what you do. So why don't you explain to the audience exactly what it is you do?
You bet, and thanks for having me.
Yeah.
It'll be a fun hour here.
Right. No, yeah, I'm excited to have you here. It's been a long time in the making, and I'm a little nervous, so forgive me on that. Just want to make sure I, give you the good due diligence for this. You have, man, so you do real estate, you do a lot of like community construction. When did you exactly get started in this? Is like I don't really even know where to begin.
Yeah, well, sure. Let's start at the beginning.
Okay, yeah, yeah.
So I do commercial construction. I build a lot of apartment buildings and other forms of commercial construction, a little bit of residential. And that business has dovetailed into a real estate investment company as well that's been fairly active for, I'd say, the last decade, almost the last decade. But the construction started pretty early on. I didn't grow up doing any construction. I took wood shop in high school.
Right.
And that was probably my intro to construction, but it wasn't really in my family. I didn't have any ties to the industry before I got started. But after high school, I went to college and without any money in my pocket, and had to get a job on the side to continue on through that trek. And I didn't have a car. I had blown up the motor in my hatchback 3 times.
This is during college.
During early years of college.
Nice.
Yeah. So I was just looking for something that was close to where I lived, and there was a cabinet shop that was hiring. So I showed up. I rode my skateboard down to the cabinet shop and applied for a near minimum wage job. I think it was like $6 an hour or something at that point.
Okay.
This would have been the late 90s.
Late 90s.
Around 2000 time frame.
Okay.
And the guy said, yeah, anybody that'll show up to work on a skateboard and make that trek is probably a good worker. So he gave me a shot, and I learned some of the finer trades in construction through that cabinet shop, and kind of onward and upward from there.
Right. So from the cabinet shop, you just kind of always stuck with construction then, just building things with your hands. You never did like anything else outside of that, really? Like groceries or pumping gas or nothing like that?
I never really did have a job like that. I started working when I was young, when I was in middle school. And I got a job through a state program that that allowed people that age, I think that's 14 years old or something like that, to work at various community sites throughout the summer. And I actually rode my bike 10 miles each way to that job for my first job. My dad would take me into his work, and I would take my bike from there 10 miles uphill both ways.
That's awesome.
Worked at this community center just doing landscaping and maintenance and things like that. And so I ended up working every summer. I don't remember if that was 7th or 8th grade, but all the way through high school from there with summer jobs. Worked for the Forest Service a couple of years. And once I moved out to college, I had to do something to make ends meet. So I started in that cabinet shop, and pretty quickly I found out that wasn't a great company. They were doing some shady stuff. I don't know if it was shady, but they just weren't keeping their books right.
Oh, okay.
And struggling to make ends meet. And so I looked out in the market, and I found a company that was making fire hearths. and I got my first piecework job. So I was the carpenter for building these stone fire hearths. They were tile and metal, and then they would have some of them would be on a oak platform. So I was the production guy for the finished carpentry side, and I got a taste of making good money early on. And all my friends were working at gas stations and pizza joints and making, I think minimum wage back then was like 450 an hour, 475.
Right.
And I was in a college town where, you had to push 10 people out of the way to get those kind of jobs.
Right.
So all my friends were working for, 35, $40 a shift. And
And what town was this in?
this was in Missoula, Montana.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah, you're born and raised Montana, or are you just kind of all over?
Yeah, I was born in Portland and
Okay.
moved a couple places, but grew up mainly in Montana.
Montana.
Hmm.
Okay. And so how long did you do that for, working on hearths?
Yeah, I mean the early jobs I was probably a year at a time,
Okay.
not too long, but I got the taste of working hard and actually being rewarded by how hard you work. Where if you work by the hour, it's doesn't really matter if you work hard or not, right? You just got to
Right.
keep your job.
Yeah, yeah.
Maybe work hard and get a promotion, get a little wage bump. But I was getting paid piece, and I could make $200 in a day, which was a lot of dough back then.
Right. Yeah, that is a fair amount of money back then. When when did you start getting the idea of, like, it flipping houses, or like
Hmm.
fixing up old beater houses? When did that kind of come into the equation here?
Yeah, so I bounced around a little bit in college. I would go for a semester, work for a semester, work the evenings, whatever I could do to get by, and couldn't really figure out what I wanted to be when I grew up. So I kept doing construction on the side, and I eventually got into the astrophysics program at the university.
I was wanting to ask you about
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
Yeah.
So I tried a few things that weren't as challenging. Didn't really like them, and that one ended up sticking. I was always into math and science, and that one was really challenging for me.
Oh, I'm sure it's a lot of like calculus and shit like that, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Took me 12 years to get through that program, but I did
You
finally.
did complete it.
I did finally graduate.
Wow.
Um,
12 years, dude. Holy. So does that's not PhD, right?
no,
Or
it's just bachelor's.
really, for 12 years? Holy
Yeah,
shit.
it was
Wow.
just on and off
Oh, okay.
between work, and so by the time I finished my degree, I had evolved in my company had evolved into remodeling. Got into some remodeling, and finished carpentry was kind of my specialty. So I was working on a lot of high-end residential places, got into some commercial work, Hilton hotels, restaurants, assisted living facilities, and did that through probably 2006 or so. And then I took the next step, which was becoming a full-on general contractor,
Just on your own.
just on my own.
And what is they call it, like a CCB, or what's that called? Like when you get like a contractor's license. What's the name of that?
Yeah, yeah. So in Oregon, that's the CCB.
Is that it? Okay.
Yep.
All right. So, and then so you started that in Montana. What was like your first house like, or what was your first project like?
Yeah.
That was your own entirely.
Yeah, so my buddy got this wild hair idea up his ass. We're at this little bar in Missoula called Flippers, I think it was, smoking a cigar, drinking a beer, and he said, let's start this community website called localmissoula.com, and just kind of highlight the cool stuff around town. We can go do some outdoor activities, kind of report on the events that are coming to town, different things like that. So we started
Okay.
this website, and it was slow out of the gate, and then he got another idea. I can't remember if this was at Flippers or not, but he said, "Why don't we do? You got this construction company going. Why don't we build a house that's green?" It was kind of a big thing back then. It was just starting to take off.
Green. Okay.
So we started this nonprofit called Make My House Green.
Like appearance green or like environmental green?
Environmental green.
Okay,
like
okay.
all the latest technologies and energy
Okay.
efficiencies and solar and
Right.
hydronic hot water systems and
Okay.
smart home.
Right. A
Um,
greenhouse.
so we called all the subs that we knew and got them to donate part of their services. Got a lot of sponsorships for the project. Put together media promotion for them on our website, and then we went around to all of the radio stations, TV stations, newspapers were still a thing at that time, and
Right.
kind of played this thing off like it was a big deal. And so we told the newspaper that we'd advertise for them on the TV, and we told the TV we'd advertise for them on the radio, and vice versa on our website, and offered all these paper sponsorship programs for everybody.
No shit.
Put together this big package, and we ended up getting like 150 or 200 grand in sponsorships for the project, and basically demoed a house.
Damn.
Bought a house, got a bank to give us a loan, advertised for the bank, of course, but no money down. Got the bank to give us all the money.
There you go. That's bold.
Yeah,
That's bold.
It was ballsy.
Yeah.
So we put this program together, and it ended up being kind of a big deal. We tore this house down to the foundation, reused all the lumber to build it back, and then got all the suppliers and sponsors to put in like their greenest, most energy efficient equipment, kind of cutting edge. We built
Right.
this really cool thing. And then throughout the course of the construction, we would have these seminars and invite the public in, advertise it on all the media, basically have the whole town's media on it. And throughout these seminars, we'd have maybe 15,000 people through the house.
Wow, you guys
in
got
a town of 65,000, 85,000 people. That's a lot.
that's significant. It seems like you accomplished that fast. Like that's a like how long of a time period is that?
I mean, we took a couple months to put it together, and then the project took maybe 9 months or so.
Wow. Okay. Shit, that's fast. So you get the first house. So you got it done, the first house. Well, actually, before I get there, what the seminars you were talking about? What what did those consist of?
They were basically the sponsors would come in with their technology and explain it to whoever was there. So,
Right. Okay.
So it might have been a solar guy one time. It might have been a hot water guy. Might have been an
Okay.
insulation guy.
Like HVAC and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, kind of all of that.
So you get that done. What's your next move after that? Where did the company kind of go once you saw this work?
So we kind of went from being a nobody out there to a known commodity in town. And so we had a lot of people coming to us to build houses for them. A lot of tire kickers, honestly, when I look back at it. But the thing we didn't have going for us was our timing. And so we decided to do the project again in Bozeman, and we did a ground up construction this time.
Okay.
So we got the same bank, a lot of the same sponsors, different subcontractors, more local to Bozeman.
Okay.
We did the same process, the same seminars and community outreach and media in Bozeman, and built a house ground up, and it was a really cool house.
And that's like, is that foundation up, or is it where you have to like have an existing foundation and go from that?
Yeah, that's all the way from the dirt.
From the dirt up.
Yeah,
Okay.
so we bought a lot in a subdivision, hired an architect, and started from square one.
Damn, yeah, because I know, like, isn't it in Oregon? It's kind of a thing where it's hard to do that, like, start from the dirt up. It's better to have like an existing foundation. Is that a thing?
It can be just depending
okay.
on what your zoning, what your zoning allows. But yeah, on certain parcels, it's a lot easier to leave something intact and work from that.
So you guys start picking up in Montana. When did at which point did you finally like move out of, or did you even move like business wise out of Montana and
Mhm.
shift it to Oregon? Or are you doing both, or what did that kind of transform into at that point?
Yeah, so we kinda ran into the brunt end of the recession is
Mm.
kind of the end of that story.
How did that affect you guys? That's 2008 recession, right?
Yep,
How did
yep.
that unfold for you?
I mean, it was detrimental to our business, and, we basically had to shut down.
Mm.
Couldn't make our mortgage payments on the house.
Oh shit.
We had, like, 5 buyers lined up, and then all of a sudden, the recession was announced, and then they all went away.
Damn.
And, couldn't liquidate it, so kinda
Shit.
got my first taste of, Airbnbs at that point. We put it into
Oh,
Airbnb
okay.
service,
Okay.
and, just to try to get by and make our payments with the bank, and, took 3 years to get out of that one. It was a rough time. So I had a couple years of construction projects lined up that eventually finished up, and there was just nothing left to do. Nobody was doing anything in Montana at that time.
Shit. Man, that's depressing, man. Yeah, that recession really hurt a lot of people.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah.
Shit. So, how did you pivot from that? When, like, how did you get out of Montana at that point?
So I stuck around for a little bit, and I took on employment with a disaster restoration company,
Oh, okay.
which is fairly recession proof. You still get fires and floods,
Right.
right? And insurance still has money to pay for things. So I was fortunate to get a job there, and learn that business, learn kind of the project management and estimating side of things. And that was probably the first time I was able to make six figures, which was kind of a big number back then.
Right, yeah.
I don't know, probably before your time. I don't know if you remember that. It's kind of like the old LinkedIn, but it was called the ladders.
Oh, yeah, no, I don't think so.
Yeah, that one was like the six-figure jobs. That was their claim to fame, was we only put six-figure jobs on here.
No
So
shit.
so once I got a taste of that, I was like always just looking on there with my buddies, and we're just like, yeah, we're just not going backwards from here.
Why? Yeah, why would you? Holy
And you
shit.
look on there, and at that time it was all like doctors and lawyers and maybe some insurance and sales people, but there really wasn't a lot of opportunity to make that kind of money back then.
Yeah, even now, that's a good amount of money, or, like, just a good opportunity to be faced with. So, how long did you do that for then, the disaster recovery stuff?
Yeah, so I did that for a couple of years in Missoula, and butted heads a little bit with the company I was working for. I've never been a very good employee. At the end of the day, pretty independent, and I had become accustomed to having the freedoms that you have with being the boss and
Right.
running your own thing.
I can understand
So
that.
when
Yeah.
you got somebody else that's A plus personality, and um, you butt heads. So
Right, yeah.
I had finally finished my degree. This was 2010, and so I decided it's probably time to uproot my family and start fresh.
Okay.
So we took a road trip. I quit that job, and took a road trip out to the West Coast and went to Seattle, Portland, San Francisco, kind of everywhere in between.
Right.
Did some interviews, checked out communities, and ended up taking a job with another restoration company in Portland.
Okay. They, offered you kinda similar benefits and okay. Was the
Yep.
dude, was his ego as inflated as the other guy, or
He ended up being a problem too.
Oh. Okay.
Eventually.
Oh,
I
man.
think he actually got run out of the company for embezzlement, is what
Oh,
happened there.
shit, dude.
Those were the rumors anyway.
Wow.
Um,
Man, that's a shame. You lost a good job, dude.
well, I mean, it ended up being good for me because I started as a senior project manager, and then ended up becoming the general manager when the original general manager left.
Oh, okay.
So that was probably my opportunity. I'd say my first opportunity to really be in charge of a reasonably sizable company,
Okay.
doing several million a year, and that grew to close to 10 million a year over a couple offices. So
Wow.
that's not considered a big company, but it's just scratching at a medium company.
Gotcha. So, like disaster, like you said, fires, like you guys are just in charge of like how is it like kind of like Serve Pro or something like
Yeah,
that where you guys like do cleanup
it was
and
called Paul Davis Restoration, so
okay.
it's real similar to a Serve Pro.
Okay. Yeah, that's that's got to be interesting work. You see videos of like the hazmat teams cleaning out old houses and shit. I'm like, man, that's but it would make sense. Those guys got to get paid well to want to clean up some of the shit you see,
Yeah,
because some
yeah.
like the hoarder houses and stuff like that, it can get pretty wild.
Yeah, that industry's a bit of a grind. I mean, it's insurance companies, people whose houses and lives are upside down. They're very
Yeah.
emotional about their houses and their circumstances. So it's a wearing industry. Um,
Yeah, I can imagine.
it was good to weather the recession, but as soon as I had opportunity to get the hell out of there, I was
Yeah.
all over it.
So when did you break free from that then?
That would have been 2014.
Okay. And did you go straight back into like doing like independent construction like on your own or what did you do after that?
So I did a combination of a couple things. I took on employment with a commercial contractor doing their estimating and senior project management. And then I started doing consulting work, basically expert witness. I had learned quite a bit about estimating and valuations in the insurance restoration world.
Oh, okay.
And so there was high demand for experts to come in and testify and provide valuations for construction disputes. And so I would get hired by attorneys to come in and basically assess what the value of the loss would be or the value of the dispute and provide an expert opinion. Sometimes in court, sometimes in
Mm,
mediations. Sometimes it was just a written report, but that was pretty good money.
yeah. Damn, yeah, in court that'd be a little awkward.
Yeah,
They're
yeah.
they're looking at you like that's the guy right there.
I've been on the stand a few times.
Oh man, yeah, that's crazy. Wow, yeah. So you've been staying busy for a long time, man. That's a lot of commitment. But yeah. So when at that point did you because you got that house in a Waldport first, right? That was like your
Yeah,
first Oregon
down in South
house,
Beach.
right? That's a pretty sweet place. Was that man? Because I think I helped you with that one. What was that like 2017 or something when you
Yeah,
got that around
exactly.
then?
Good memory.
Yeah, I think that's when it was.
Yeah,
Yeah. So that was one of your first intros into getting property around here, like it
yeah,
to like kind of rebuild and flip.
yeah. That was probably my first.
Well, I guess
Um,
you didn't flip it. It's Airbnb now, right? Still, yeah,
yep, still own it.
yeah. That's a badass house. You guys should check it out.
Yeah,
So how did you? Because I remember that was an interesting story with that place. Didn't you say it was like somebody took a double wide trailer and put it on top of like an old house or some shit like that? It was
yeah,
some weird.
yeah. It was a triple wide on top of a 9-foot concrete stem wall.
That's what it was. Yeah.
We had to pick it apart with the backhoe piece by piece and pull it off.
Yeah. Yeah, it's amazing, watching that place, like, I remember when you were putting the walls up on it, just seeing what it started as, like, I didn't see it when it was the triple wide or what I just saw it when it was all smashed up, but, yeah, it was some great work done on that. How did you, what were the steps leading up to that?
Yeah, so I had sold my place in Missoula. I'd rented it out for a while and sold it, and then had some equity built up. So I was looking to reinvest in an Oregon property, and it was tough. I was looking at duplexes, triplexes, fourplexes in Portland, and the masses were after them. You'd get bidding wars, 10, 12 offers on a property, and so I started looking out of town, and I had gotten into fishing quite a bit.
Yeah.
So I'd go down to Newport, and so I started looking in Newport. I had a boat down there,
Mm.
and I ended up finding this bank-owned REO property, beachfront, with this disaster, this monstrosity of a triple wide that was all water damaged and molded out and about to fall in on itself. And so it had a lot of hair on it, and people were scared. And, so I worked a deal with the realtor to where he would get both sides of the commission if I bought it, and it was going basically like an auction.
Okay.
Not a real auction, but just the best and highest bidder.
Okay.
So he kind of coached me into the highest offer, which was, I want to say, like 210,000, 215,000.
Damn. That's crazy. You think like because that's just that piece of land alone now. Like, yeah, beachfront. Access down to the beach right there. That's great property. That's crazy. But sorry, continue.
Yeah, yeah. No, it was. I thought it was a great deal.
Yeah, yeah.
And the funny thing though is, I had to put $500,000 or something like that into it,
Yeah.
to build it back as masterful as it turned out.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't have that kind of money. I couldn't get a loan for that kind of money. I was just stuck with this piece of property, and I was still working for another company in the commercial world.
Okay, so you weren't totally out of that yet.
I wasn't out of that. No.
Okay.
I was still doing a little bit of consulting on the side, but yeah, I had some clients that the company I was working for, they couldn't qualify with the bank because their financials were so bad. They couldn't qualify to build this project. And these clients said, we've been working with you for a long time. Have you ever thought about going back out on your own again? And I hadn't really thought about it, but I looked into it, and a month or two later, I got my CCB license, and a month or so after that, I was building a 40-unit, $5 million project.
Yeah, man. That's and where was that unit at?
That one was in East Portland.
Okay. Yeah, because you got a couple units up there, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've done countless projects up there since then.
Oh man, yeah. Now I guess that kind of opens up like after the walled poorhouse, you got that done. You got that, on Airbnb. What you started, it seemed like from what I observed, you expanded pretty quick into those units. But I mean, like you got those the studios in Waldport there, all the little cabins, whatever. Like you got that, and so you were doing like just houses and these apartment buildings side by side, kind of.
Yeah, I had parallel tracks going, and it really wouldn't have been possible except for starting the commercial construction company up and having the profits from that job to be able to put into the real estate.
How did you be like, oh, I'm gonna go set up these units in Portland? Does that have to be like verified by the mayor, or is that like a grant? Like, how do you approach that, or is it just as simple as buying a plot of land, building apartments, and then putting them for rent?
I mean, there's certain zonings that allow for it. They try to push for multi-unit properties close to transit lines.
Okay.
So a lot of our projects end up being close to the max in different transit lines.
And so that's your construction company that went out and built those, right? Or did you?
Yeah.
Okay.
So there was a developer that had done the legwork on the zoning and the what they call the entitlements for the project.
Okay.
Basically getting the design done, hiring an architect, a planner, the different engineers, and going through the permitting process with the city.
Okay.
And so then it's build ready. They call it shovel ready.
Okay.
So that's where my company would come in, and
Right.
then we would build it for a developer.
Okay. I was thinking like I was gonna ask how long it would take to build a unit like that, but I guess it all just depends because they're all different like sizes and rooms. Like I've seen, you got units here in Southtown, just a couple blocks over from here. And are they about that size or something similar to that a little bit?
Yeah, yeah, those are, the ones here locally are, garden style, they're multi-building, and so they're 12 plexes, a series of 12 plexes. I think this project here was 84 units.
Okay.
The first one I did was a single building corridor style, and that was, 40 units all in one building.
Okay. Man, so that's sounds like a lot to manage. So you got people under you that kind of manage all these units, like, and they just report to you if anything comes up or like a pipe breaks or something.
Yeah, so we're the general contractor, so we hire subs to
Okay.
do all the trade work.
Right. Okay.
And then we would, one of my buddies from the company I was working with came over to help project manage it. And then we brought another guy in to be the on-site superintendent. And so I ended up in my construction company with a lot of the same guys I had worked with in the past
Oh, that's kind of cool.
at the
Yeah.
restoration company and the other companies I'd worked for.
Was there any other projects that like was there anything other than apartment buildings you worked on, like city hall, hospital, or anything like that that you guys started to take on too?
Yeah, yeah. We we did a 80,000 foot industrial space out in Troutdale. Um,
Okay.
we've done a lot of office projects, some restaurants, TIs, all kinds of different projects,
Right.
senior housing. But really, it's been a lot of apartments lately.
Gotcha. And are so these apartments, are they all like are there what do they call it? Like is any of them like low income or anything like that? What are they affordable housing? That's what I'm thinking of. Is there stuff like that that you guys helped work on too?
Yeah, yeah. If we fast forward a little bit, so so I ended up doing 4 projects for that developer. Kept me busy for
Okay.
2.5 years, and then I was fortunate enough to be introduced to these affordable housing developers that were getting a lot of state funds to build throughout the state. And that's when things really started to take off for my company. So
Mm,
we went from doing 5 million a year to 10 million a year to 20 million a year to 50 million a year to 70 million a year.
yeah.
And so that's kind of the evolution of the last 6 or 7 years.
Man, yeah, I guess like something like that. Once you're rooted, like you got yourself, like yeah, it's just sky. Especially like now, like it seems like the housing economy, or just in that regard, seems like it's kind of going up in a way where it's just gonna. It's not. We're not looking at 2008 again, is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, man, that's how how do you manage all of that? Like, when do you get that big? Like, I mean, I know you said you have people that work under you, but you've got to be on the phone all the time.
Well, we have over 30 employees now. We have over 200 subcontracting companies that work for us. We have consultants, we have attorneys, CPAs,
Mm,
insurance people, a lot of different. You just got to have the right team.
right.
You got to build it right. It doesn't happen overnight. So you start with one project, you get to where you're doing 2 or 3 at a time, then you get to where you're doing 7 or 8 at a time, then you get to where you're doing 10 or 12 at a time, like we're doing now. And
Yeah.
you just have to build that team as you go and keep good people around, train them up and advance the people with the growth of the company.
Right. And I think that kind of ties into, something that we were talking about earlier is like what it takes to achieve like success in a way is having a good group of people around you and that, right? Like just just having a good flowing company. Yeah, you don't want to have people embezzling money or any of that
Yeah.
weird shit, You got to have some real deal people. And once now that you got that, what were like some of your guys' biggest like accomplishments that you saw your company oversee? Like whether it's recent or just starting, like what's some of the best projects or anything?
Yeah. One thing that I'm really proud of is a lot of our projects had some meaning. They're not just bricks and mortar. but they actually have they're serving a population that really needs housing. So whether it's affordable housing, we've done several. I think we're just breaking ground here in Albany on our third veterans homeless veterans housing
Oh,
project,
that's awesome.
and we've done a lot for nonprofits. We've done housing for adults with developmental disabilities. But yeah, I'd say we didn't really get into this early on, but back in the college days, I had joined the Marine Corps Reserves,
Mm,
so I kind of have that veterans. The veterans kind of pull at my heartstrings a little bit, you know. So those are
right.
really meaningful projects for me.
Okay. We never talked about it. I knew you had done something within the military, but I just never really knew what that was. So how, you know, I know we're digging back a bit on that, but how long did you like do that for?
Yeah, it was a bittersweet experience. But you know, in the early college days, I was quite a rebel,
Like we all are at
like
that
we all
point.
are,
Yeah.
right? And I was spinning my wheels early on, and looking for some avenue to find some stabilization and motivation. So I did join the Marine Corps. I was taking the astrophysics program, and I'd gotten into their fighter pilot program.
No shit.
So I had these aspirations of being an astronaut and working for NASA
Oh
down the
man.
line. And
Yeah.
you know, long story short, by the time I finished my degree 12 years later, I was making a lot more money in construction. It just would have been a big setback to go that path. But
Right.
um, what that did do for me, though, was got my head on straight,
Mm.
and you know, got some discipline. You go to boot camp, you're gonna come out disciplined, right?
Yeah,
Those
either you
guys,
make it or you don't.
yeah, those guys make you cry,
Yeah,
turn you
yeah.
into a little crybaby,
Yeah, I'm
right?
sure.
Then you're tough when you come out. But
Yeah.
yeah, it was an experience. It was eye opening for sure. But yeah, the discipline and the camaraderie and the leadership and the teamwork that came out of that was, I mean, I just couldn't have got it any other way. It was,
Right. And I can only, I know I have a few friends that, whether they served or not, but they've been through boot camp or they at least spent a year, doing whatever it was in the military. And you can see that there's like a special connection those guys have, but also just the ultimate like discipline, respect that you gain through it. That's something special for sure. I never obviously served or did anything, but I always respected that of guys like yourself that went through something that I probably couldn't handle. Like
yeah.
and I don't know. But so how does that then so you're building these veterans shelters is how does what is that like kind of going back to that now where
Mhm.
what is that like you guys are just helping like is it PTSD trauma or is it just like shelter and housing or exactly what is
I mean,
that?
they're really nice units. They're really nice buildings. There,
Okay.
in fact, there's one that we built that's across the street from the courthouse in Salem. If you ever
Okay.
drive through there, you can check it out.
Okay.
But they're really nice buildings. The some of the senators got the money together for them, and these ones are partnered with the YMCA's. So the YMCA donated part of their property for the construction, and then brought in a lot of sponsorships and worked with the Congress, the state Senate, and the state Congress to get funds approved for these projects. Um, but they're bringing in people, veterans off the street, PTSD, dependency issues, schizophrenia, like you name it, right? They're bringing these guys off the street and getting them a permanent place to rest their head every night, which is
That's
pretty
awesome,
amazing.
man. We need more of that because, it's kind of a shame where you see how some of these, how some veterans are treated, they either they just get just fucked, for lack of a better phrase, fucked over sometimes. And, they're just left to sleep under bridges or they just
Hmm.
don't have a way to adjust back to society from seeing crazy shit. And, it's good to have people like you out there to take care of those guys, in whichever way it is. I don't know much about the VA, but I always see memes and people talking shit that they don't
Yeah.
really help a lot of the times, and
Yeah.
so I think those guys need anything they can get. What are some other like things that you've done for that? Like you did some for like homeless, right? Or some shelters for that, just homeless people in general, or
I
or
haven't really done like the small shelter projects, but the permanent housing, more permanent
okay,
housing. Yeah.
right, right. And I mean, yeah, we need plenty of that because I think that's one of the things that people talk about is just lack of housing and a lot of the pop. You look at Corvallis and there's new units being put up all the time because there's so many people just coming into these areas, and I think it's good to be able to house everybody. Yeah,
Yeah, we
it's
could do a whole nother episode on the politics of housing.
yeah, no, yeah, we only have an hour, but yeah. So what about like some of your biggest like failures? Like what
Oh
were
yeah.
what were some just like besides the 2008 recession, like recently, did you have any what was some challenges you faced?
Um, that's a good question. There's a new challenge every day in this industry. I'll be honest, it is a grind.
Yeah.
I
Oh,
mean,
I'm sure.
the real estate side of things is mental grind. It is you're dealing with lawyers and contracts and risk and insurance and um numbers, right? It's a lot of numbers. Is this project going to pencil? And it's risky. So, the risk on developing something, buying an asset that is going to perform, is the tenant going to bail on me? Are they going to default on their lease, or is the Airbnb not going to, or people not going to show up, right?
Right. Yeah.
So that's always been a challenge. And on the construction side of things, I would say the last couple of years, staffing has been staffing and HR has been tough. Some of those growth spurts that we had, I think it was 2022 or 2023, we went from 25 million one year to 75 million the next year.
Oh my gosh.
And it was like, whoo,
Damn.
how do you staff for that? And
Yeah,
you got
right.
projects going all over the state, 500 units at a time. And just trying to hire bodies at a time when right after that pandemic,
Mhm.
everybody wanted a raise, nobody wanted to work, and
Yeah.
everybody wanted to work from home or stay home, and so getting good help was just a huge challenge for about a year or 2 years there.
Yeah.
And we had some projects that did really well during that time that we had some of our more established people on, and we had some projects that struggled because we had new people that were
Just
just
randoms.
yeah, like
Yeah.
they look good on paper, they sounded great in the interview, but at the end of the day, you really got to take care of business on these things to
Right.
to be successful.
Yeah. No, it sounds like a lot of responsibility. What so some of those what is something like out of all of this, like, and we'll talk about some other things too, but like something that you're most proud of so far? Like, is there like what are you like with all this responsibility, all this stress? What doesn't keep you up at night, but what kind of makes you be like, this was worth it? Like this is like I'm happy about this. Like, what's one thing that kind of shines that for you?
I just say the position that I've landed in at the end of it, right? It's not the end of it, but where it's at now, I feel like it's been an uphill battle the whole time, and it feels like I finally peaked that crest, right?
Mm,
Where things are clicking. We got good people in place. I've got 30 families that rely on my work to pay their bills every month, plus the 200 subcontractors and all their employees
right.
on top of that. I mean, that's probably the thing I'm most proud of is being able to help those people along. along the
Right.
way.
And it even trickles down to like the people that need your units or whatever. Like they might not have had an option otherwise too. No
Yep.
matter whether it's in Portland or here in Corvallis. Yeah, I can respect that. Yeah, that's a lot of people.
It's a lot of people. It's
And yeah,
can be a lot of headache too, right? That whole HR side of things is
yeah,
probably my least favorite part of the business. But
right. And kind of going into what you were talking about is like when you're at this point of success, like, obviously there's the work managing, being a boss. But I think kind of one thing you mentioned is just mentally and how you manage something like this with money and starting from the bottom like you did and getting to this level. Like, do you want to elaborate that a little bit? Just
Sure.
yeah.
I mean, success means different things to different people, and most people think of success as financial success, right? Everybody wants to make more money or get rich or wealthy and well off, and if you get to that point, you're considered successful, right? But there's give and take to get to that point financially, and there's other aspects of success that either go hand in hand with it or are neglected along the way,
Mhm.
and kind of fall off on the wayside. So I think for me, it's what I'm realizing as I've achieved financial success is that it's really important to look at the other aspects of success. And for me, that means the people that I work with, the people that benefit from our product,
Mhm.
um, and then the relationships is really the biggest thing. So,
Yeah.
reputation is a big deal. That's actually what's I think one of the things that's really pushed us the most is um, always doing what we say we're going to do, no matter what it takes. And there's going to be speed bumps and challenges and all these hurdles to overcome along the way. But
Right.
sometimes I've worked all night long,
Yeah.
just because I had a deadline and I had a client that was expecting something, and my people were behind, and I had to take up the slack. So I think that that sense of accomplishment comes from doing what you say you're going to do, no matter what. Always coming out the other side with a happy client that's going to keep feeding you work and keep it going.
Man. Yeah, I think that's pretty well said. I think yeah, it's important not to let it get to your head too, importantly. Like I'm sure there's a ton of people out there. We always hear the stories where people achieve or they're handed success sometimes. Sometimes people just are born into money or whatever and they don't have a proper respect for it. So I think being able to respect it and yeah, like you said, just knowing what keeps you there, is
Mhm.
important. Yeah, man.
Well, and then those relationships are they're beyond the money, right? They're
Yeah.
invaluable beyond the money
Yeah.
because yeah, you can win the lottery. Somebody wins the lottery once in a while, right? And they get a
Mhm.
big pile of money.
Yeah.
And then 2 years later,
They're
they're
broke.
they're broke and
Yeah.
everybody hates them, and
Yeah.
their life's shit. But
Yeah.
so just remembering it's not all about the money. I never set out to get wealthy. That was never really in my head. Not something that I had really ever thought about growing my company. It just
Yeah.
happened,
Right.
and it didn't happen by happenstance. It happened by hard work, and so I think there's a lot more sense of accomplishment that way, and it keeps you grounded a bit, and so you got to focus on the relationships with all the people too.
Yeah. No, it's I'm sure it's yeah, commitment, it's a grind. It's if you really want to achieve something great, it's not just going to be handed to you. It's yeah. Um but oh, sorry, I had a thought. What is so that being said, if somebody wanted to get like say do something, real estate or get into this kind of field wherever they are in the country, would you say that advice is kind of transferable? Like, what would you give to somebody who's just starting out in something like this? Or just maybe in general with achieving, something that could yield a success such as yourself.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a few different ways to become well off, and one is entrepreneurship. One is artistic talent, actors and
Yeah.
athletes. Right?
Mhm.
There's a few people that make it there. Um, but I think entrepreneurship is. I mean, there's also the silver spoon kids, right? The trust fund kids
They're
that
born into it,
they're just
yeah.
born into it.
Yeah.
But entrepreneurship is not for everybody. That's probably my first advice,
Mm,
right? So I think people need to dig down deep and kind of decide if it's their path or not.
right.
Because it's really not for everybody. It's most people don't realize how much work it is, don't realize how much stress it is, and are frankly just not motivated enough to do what it has to take or what it takes to succeed. I mean, they say that like 80% of construction companies are out of business within 5 years.
Mm,
Right. So it's just
yeah.
not an easy track. A lot of people think, all right, I'm going to buy a van and a paintbrush and get started, right? And
Yeah.
then they got to go bid, and then they got to collect the money, and then they got to deal with a lawsuit, and then they got to hire an employee, and
Yeah.
right on down the line, right? So there's
Yeah.
all these different aspects. So I would say, some soul searching to see if you're really that kind of person that can handle that first off,
Yeah.
right? And then if you are, and if you're motivated and you want to make a better life for yourself, you want those freedoms that come with being financially independent, being your own boss. Um, you need to start with mentorship. You need to find people that have been successful and do what they do. It doesn't mean, like I've been successful in construction and real estate. It doesn't mean, go buy a house and go build a house, right?
Right. Yeah.
But you got to find your own path. You got to find
Mhm.
your own path in what it is that you're good at. Figure out what your talents are, what you're passionate about. And that's a tough one for people too, right? Because a lot of times they're passionate about something that really doesn't have a big upside, right? So that's tough too,
Yeah.
right? Because
Yeah.
you can pursue your passion your whole life, and maybe that brings you happiness, but it may not bring you financial success. So
Yeah. You can like making pottery, but you're not gonna get rich doing
right,
it. Yeah.
exactly,
Yeah.
yeah. Like
Yeah.
I like fishing a lot, but if I
Right.
wanted to be a fishing guide, that's a
Yeah.
tough life.
Yeah, that is a very tough life, yeah.
um, yeah, so I mean that's where you start, and then you gotta you can't be too good to take on anything. If you're the new guy on the job site, maybe you gotta clean the job shack
Yeah.
for the first couple months, right?
Yeah.
You can't be afraid to do the bottom of the barrel work but if you do a good job at it, it'll get noticed at some point. And patience is a big thing too. I mean, that's one that I've really had to learn. Persistent patience is that's a key because things just don't happen in the time frame that we have in our heads.
Yeah. I'm guilty of that. Like for instance, building this podcast when I had the idea, I was like, "Oh, I'm gonna buy all the equipment and build it all right now and do it." And it's been a few years. I'm still putting it together and I'm still figuring out how to do it. And but I think, like you said, it's just commitment and patience, to achieve anything. You just yeah,
And persistence, right? Because
yeah,
you're gonna break a few eggs before you get the omelet,
right,
and you got to be okay with that. You got to realize that I'm gonna have some hard knocks. I'm gonna like when I was in that situation with that house in the recession. That was 3 years of hell.
yeah,
I mean, that was attorneys calling me all the time, banks trying to collect money, my credit cards maxed out. you
yeah,
know, that was hell. I mean, but you fight through that persistence and you don't give up, and you learn from your mistakes. I mean, that's another big piece of advice is don't keep making the same mistakes over and over again.
Right. Yeah. No, that's pretty well said.
You
Yeah,
know,
man.
yeah, one other thing too is that I've particularly found that I do well is saying no. And
Mm,
that was a tough one because people are so concerned about what other people think about them, hurting their feelings. They're people pleasers, right?
right. Yeah.
And so, I've had a lot of opportunities that I've said no to because it just didn't something didn't sit right, and it ended up being a developer that ended up in a lawsuit with the contractor, and I
Mm.
had said no to it, and so I've avoided some big pitfalls,
Yeah,
knock on
yeah,
wood, but
yeah,
the power of saying no is huge.
yeah. I can understand. I can see that. You know, I've worked in the cannabis industry for a while, and I've worked under a bunch of different people, and I've seen a lot of farms. I've seen a lot of people go under because they're always saying yes to too much shit. Like whether
Mhm.
it's providing for example, some of these farms will be like, "Yeah, I'll get you 100 pounds a month out of this room," and then they maybe get 20.
Yeah.
But if they told the investor, whoever, like, "I can do it," and they don't think, and I feel like that's kind of the same thing. It's like, hey, if this dude is like, "Can you make me 100 pounds a month?" Uh, maybe say no because that's a pretty high number. It's just like a little example I'm thinking of in a different
Yeah.
way. But sometimes we were talking earlier about people sometimes want to get on here, and I've thought about being like, oh, like I'll let everyone on, but then I'm like, do I want to invite that person to my house, or
Yeah.
it's shit like that.
Yeah.
It's like I gotta know when to say no with that. But I do. Other than that, like sometimes my friends even they'll be like, "Oh, let's hang out, let's do some," and then it'll be like, "Oh, fuck, I should have said no to this,"
Yeah.
But,
Yeah, we all do it. We
yeah,
all do it.
but I'm sure like something like in a business scenario like that, yeah, you gotta be very, very aware.
And
Yeah.
when you get to be when you're marketing clients, you have to, and you have a reputation that you need to uphold. You kind of have to step aside from um, and step aside from kind of your old way of just doing whatever, and you have to make decisions that are smart for your business, right?
Yeah.
Like, does it make sense to get wasted with this client? Like, he wants me to, we're having fun. He might give me a good job,
Yeah.
but is that really a smart move, right? Tonight, and
Yeah.
am I gonna say something? I mean, I've done that with clients. We go out for drinks, and they get me a few whiskeys in, and then I start
Oh, fuck
and then
yeah.
they're like, "Oh, so what's your margins on this project?" And you
You're just kind of
spell it
go.
out, right? And then then Monday comes around, and they're like, "Yeah, we're gonna tighten this budget up a little bit."
Damn,
Right?
dude. That's
so,
great.
so yeah, keeping control of yourself is important in a
Yeah.
public setting.
Oh, and that's yeah, for anything, for sure. Yeah, but, yeah, man, it's, you're a very accomplished guy, and, we could do so many podcasts just about, like, your work, your fishing, like you said, you got a pretty sweet boat there in Newport, that'd be fun to talk about sometime, but, is there anything that you wanna add, before, we're approaching an hour almost, so, a few closing things and we'll be out of here.
Yeah.
Um, do you have anything?
Um, yeah, I'd say if someone goes down the path of entrepreneurship, it's important to remember why they're doing it, right? And
Yeah.
and really lay that out at the beginning. Is it all about the money? Is it about being wealthy? Is it about taking back your time? Is it about developing relationships? Is it what's your why, right? They always say
Mhm.
that in these seminars, like figure out what your why is and then stick to it. So that's an important one.
Yeah. Yeah. No, and it's funny because like that why, and if it's whether it's entrepreneurship, that to some people can be like, oh well, it's like the like your not why to your existence, but it's like that is someone could be someone's existence. So it's like, oh, I don't know my why yet. They might not get there. Is what I'm. It's
Yeah.
kind of a weird thing to say, but like, some people like working for a paycheck. Some people, like running shit.
Yeah. And
So,
I'm kind of a glutton for punishment, like, I mean, I
yeah,
had a comfortable job. I left a $150,000 a year job to stick my neck out and build my first major project
yeah,
with not a lot of money in the bank and really not a lot of real experience in ground up projects. And I just figured it out. I
yeah.
got knocked over the head a few times, and um, so I'm kind of a glutton for punishment that way, and anybody that's looking to go that directions needs to be.
You gotta learn to take a few punches.
You
Not
gotta take
every
a few
boxer
punches.
is Mike Tyson.
Yeah.
What about some? Yeah, here. What about some goals? Like, what
Hmm.
are some new things on the horizon for you?
Yeah.
Do you have any like new projects, or are you gonna expand to different states? What do you have on your plate?
Yeah, I mean, I've got a ton of opportunities. It's not the greatest economy, to be honest with you. There's not
No.
there's
Okay.
not a lot of development going on.
Okay.
The the banks, the interest rates, the cost of construction, the politics of development. It's actually a pretty challenging market right now.
Oh, okay.
We're fortunate enough to have a nice pipeline, $100 million pipeline of work,
Hmm.
which is 18 months or so, and then we have a lot of opportunities to go into different markets. A lot of the affordable housing money is drying up with federal retraction of funds and states having to divert their um, affordable housing money towards more safety net type programs. So a lot of the affordable housing money is actually drying up right now.
Oh,
So pivot is going to have to happen if we're going to remain viable. So I'm starting to do some of my own smaller development projects to keep my crews busy and kind of keep that pipeline full.
okay.
We've got like 8 projects that are going right now. Actually, probably a dozen, eight ground up projects.
Just kind of all over Oregon, or
Yeah, all the way up and down the Willamette Valley, Corvallis, Albany, Salem, a couple in Portland, Bend,
okay,
and everywhere in between.
everywhere.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
So we have a lot going on. There's there's just a lot of opportunities though to pivot, whether it's into public work or development, more real estate. I've been doing a lot more real estate investing lately. Um, so yeah, we'll see where it all ends up, but it's looking like a lot of good opportunities.
Well, that's good. Yeah, well, that's funny because at the beginning of this, I'm like, "Oh, the economy's looking good," all this, and you're like, "Yeah, maybe not so much."
It is in certain regards. It's just people are on pins and needles with development and risk tolerance right now.
Yeah, yeah, I'm sure it's gotta, it can be pretty finicky. Yeah, man. Well, anything else that you would like to add, or we could keep going for forever, I'm sure, but I know we're closing in on an hour, and I know that you're a busy guy.
No, I appreciate that.
Yeah, well, no, I appreciate you, man. Your story's great, and it's cool to be, part of of the family in a way.
Yeah.
And you're an awesome guy. You started up from the bottom and you got here, and I think it's a good not like lesson, but it's just good for people to see something like that, because sometimes when people think of like real estate people, they think that it's like, oh, it's just old money that they were
Hmm.
handed and all their parents, blah blah blah, but like you really did start it on your own, and I think it's important that like you said, you can get there if you just work hard enough. And if you're a motivated person, anybody listening to this, like it's you got an example sitting right here of someone who worked hard, and yeah, now you're here.
I mean, it's really about those relationships, not burning the bridges when things are difficult, and bringing people along, good people, putting the right people in the right seats. And that's kind of where the next chapter I'm hoping is for me, is to be able to hand some of this off to some of those people that I put in place, so I can 'Cause it has been a grind. I mean, I've been at it for 25 years now,
Mm,
and, um, it's really just taken off majorly in the last 5 years, I would say.
yeah.
But being able to take more time off, travel, get back into some of the recreation I used to do when I wasn't working all the time, that's kinda my next goal.
That'd be fun if, I hope you come on the podcast again because some of your travel stories are pretty cool. Just
Yeah.
the stuff you've done is just amazing, abroad. Yeah, again, thank you for being on, and also just thank you for everything you do for the community. Like you said, for the veterans, for affordable housing. I think it's important that people, you do a lot for people, and I think that's thank you, and that's I hope the community thanks you for that too. Anyway, do you have anything you want to add, dude? I was sitting over there quietly.
Nope, I got nothing to add.
Okay. All right. Well, this is that Hella Dank podcast, everybody. Maddie's not here. I don't know where she is, but we're just running it. So thank you again, Caleb. It's been awesome to have you here, and we'll catch you guys next episode.